Yo, what's up guys? Today I'm gonna talk to you about consistency on racing games. I'm a controller player, but I'm gonna yap today about everything I can think of to help you get more consistent in a game because, come on, so many people are not consistent, especially on this F1 game. It's, of course, these races are 50%, you know, it's not a 100% race. It's you couldn't call it an endurance race, but it's still 40 minutes that you're driving, and consistency is so important. So today I'm gonna go through all of my best tips that I have. I've written some things down. It's gonna be a little bit of a yapathon, so grab some popcorn and enjoy the show. As you can see, we are at Imola, and we're gonna take a look at here. First, why consistency is important. And here,
Roski.
yeah, you can say he turned in, but I didn't really have the right to any space. So why do we even want consistency? We want to minimize the mistakes. First of all, if you're over pushing all the time, yeah, you're just gonna lose so much time. Especially those small mistakes.
It's okay.
Those mistakes are gonna cost you more time than just taking the corner slower. So let's say we go through a corner and we make a mistake and we lose 4 tenths. If we just took the corner 3 tenths slower, which is really slow,
No way.
we would still be faster. Of course, overall, you're not going to make the mistake in every corner. As we almost here get past. It's kind of going to be on the background here. But Imola is such a good track, and I'm going to explain why in a second. But you want to minimize those mistakes, obviously, because those mistakes are going to cost you the most amount of time. And that is why you want to stay consistent. So, why is Imola such a good track? It is 32 laps with a lot of places where you can get warnings and get a penalty. Of course, being on strict in these league races, as you can see, we get so close to the line. But if you cross it 3 times, you get 3 seconds added. And 3 seconds added, especially if you are in a very competitive field, that is race over. It doesn't really hurt you that much if you're not racing that competitively, but still, it can cost you a place or 2 for sure. And especially around Imola, it's very easy to make mistakes. That's another reason, by the way, which we will get into in a second. But especially around Imola, if you...
Still GLR, guys.
I once did a race in Imola and I got 21 seconds of penalties. Like, there used to be a time where I couldn't even believe that it was possible to finish a race, a 50% race around Imola without any warnings or penalties. I couldn't believe it. And I really had to change something in my driving. I've grown a lot, and I think consistency might be one of my strong suits right now. If I compare myself to other drivers, if I look at the whole seasons, I'm often really able to still stay consistent. Like, I sometimes struggle really extracting the maximum from a weekend. You know, we can get into those things another time. But I'm gonna talk about what I did to help me go from a quali merchant to a race merchant, pretty much. So, the first thing, and you've maybe heard it before,
Nice, let's go.
the main thing is underdriving. You want to be... It doesn't really matter which percentage you take here. You don't want to drive at 100%. You want to have in your mind that you're driving at 90%. Maybe 90% gives you too many mistakes. Then you need to be driving at 80%. And you might be thinking, oh, I'm going to drive slow. Yes, that is the downside. And you need to be on the limit. But first, let's just first be consistent. And then we can improve that race pace. And we can improve the risk we can take during a race. And that's also what I want to talk about. It's kind of a compromise between how much risk are you willing to take and how much chance are you taking for a mistake. Here you can see I've got someone 5 tenths behind me. I can take it very cautious through that corner and not get a warning. But I kind of need to be a little bit risky as we have a gap ahead of us that we're trying to close down. Unfortunately, those leaders are very quick. Imola is not a good track for me at all. So yeah, that's also another thing. To be consistent, you have to really be aware of what position am I in right now in the race. All right, the gap is 2.4 seconds to the leader. Realistically, you can already see me here trying to push, and what happens is I make a mistake.
Sorry, bro. Yeah.
It would have been better in this situation to realize that 2.3 seconds, as you can see in the top left, the gap didn't increase that much, but I realized we are not getting this gap down. That is just an unrealistic goal. We are in this position, we're trying to defend from the car behind.
5.
And we have a choice, of course, to work together. I decided to not do that because pit stops are coming up. I believed in my pace, didn't really believe in his pace, which is sometimes not a good judgment call. We will just have to wait till the end of the race. But as you can see, the gap has gone down to 3 seconds. Not that much. They are really quick. It's alright. But if I just kept trying to push, of course, there is a chance that I can get that gap down, taking more risk. But there's also a higher chance that you are making mistakes. And if this is just my pace, it is kind of the risk and reward that you have to analyze in the race. When is it smart to go for that? Go and try and really lock in and be on the maximum limit. Like, is there a downside to it? Of course, if I was in last place right now, there's no downside. I'm gonna have to push like crazy and just gonna have to do everything I can and take that risk because my race is already ruined otherwise. So that's kind of like how you should approach it. Another thing is why you really want the consistency is rhythm. So I also want to talk about rhythm. How do you get into the rhythm? I think this has a lot to do with mindset, and I think a lot of people it doesn't really get talked about that much mindset in the races. And I feel like a lot of people are usually wrong, and this also separates a lot of engineers, really good engineers in my eye, from the bad ones. I have not had the fortune of working with that many engineers, by the way, so this is not towards anyone at all. But I have also noticed, like, if I am in a party and I'm driving with people, I am quite a sensitive person. If someone is negative, I get sensitive. I feel that negativity. And I feel like I am just feeling it, but I think it affects everybody. Let's say if you're in a party and someone else is very negative, how is that going to influence your rhythm, your focus, you know? And not only other people, especially yourself. Like, a lot of shit happens during the race, and it's very important to stay positive. And if something happens, immediately, I just snapped my fingers, you couldn't see it, but immediately go back to being focused. That is so important. Also for consistency, also for rhythm.
They don't go in the pits. That's even better.
It's very important.
I would have thought they would go in the pits at least behind me.
It's very important to straight away snap out of it. Realize about yourself that you are not in a good place. You're struggling a little bit maybe. Snap out of it. Just think, okay, next corner is up. Let's take it cool. Let's get into a rhythm. Realize that it is not just one corner that gets you into the rhythm, all right? Just be... Alright, move on. We're focusing on the next corner now. Alright? Just try and move on. Try and learn doing that. Another reason why you want to be consistent is tire wear. And it kind of goes together with everything in driving. Using the battery. Everything that you want to do to get quicker. If you are consistent, you can actually tell. First of all, you can tell if you're going quicker. If you're talking about a full lap. Also, if you're just trying to practice or if you're trying stuff out. I know being consistent is one of the facets. Facets? Is that an English word? I don't know. It's one of the things that you need to be able to do if you're a good racing driver, right? But how are you gonna get... How do you know where you are struggling if you're not consistent, alright? If you're doing if you're not focusing on the racing technique. Like, I'm talking about, for example, the battery. Let's say if I'm messing up every corner, it's really hard to tell, especially now in the race. It's really hard to tell right now if I'm getting faster because I'm doing a certain battery strategy. But if I'm doing every corner the same thing, of course, I can tell if my battery strategy is the right strategy or not. So you can just think about so much more if you are consistent and you are just driving under the limit. It's just about driving under the limit and accepting your pace sometimes as well. Like sometimes as well in this race, you can see now the gap has gone to 6 seconds. It's okay. I accept that I'm not great in Imola. I didn't practice that much for this race as well, so it's fine. It's okay. That doesn't need to be in my head. I'm talking like this, not as if I've always done this right. I'm talking this as a person that has made these mistakes before. I remember that I sometimes drive and you get stressed out. I get my second warning here. I think it was my second warning in lap 15. So now we're in lap 15 and we have 17 laps to go on this track. And now we cannot get another warning. Also about warnings, there's a mentality you have to apply with warnings. I feel like I also used to not really see the warnings as an alarm, as a dangerous thing. I was like, oh, I got a warning. All right, I still got 2 left. And then you get that second warning, and then it's suddenly like, this is, by the way, a weird moment.
What are you doing?
He was not really going. I think it was his delta was off, and then I just screwed up.
Guys, sleep.
Yeah. Guy's sleeping, but it's okay. As I was saying, when the first warning comes, it should immediately be a big alarm. Oh shit. I made a big mistake. Let's move on. Stay positive, but stay focused. Really use it as an alarm. All right, we're gonna take a little less risk. The risk that I was talking about those consistency, it needs to decrease a little bit because we cannot afford a 3-second time penalty. And you have to really not ignore it because it's so easy, especially if you're very early on with that warning. It's so easy to ignore the first warning, especially back in the day. Like, I used to do this wrong. And I was just first warning, alright, it's okay. Second warning, alright, it's still not the third warning. And then I got a third warning and I was like, shit, I should only have a 3-second. But I had 2 warnings that I should have used in decreasing my risk, in decreasing my driving. And not trying to be on the limit. And especially if you have that first 3 seconds. It's like, all right, we got another warning. All right, it's okay. It's okay. It's kind of like, you get sucked into the penalty hole. And that used to be me, guys. That used to be me. But now, proud to say, we are still second on 2 warnings in lap 19. And as well, and I didn't really take into account what happens happened in the race. But there were a lot of moments that we can learn from. So now we are behind a hard runner, behind a medium runner.
I'm just driving very carefully, saving my rear tires.
So as I've already been saying, consistency, tire wear is also very important. It's hard on the controller.
Not trying to get a warning.
I used to blame controller, by the way, on consistency. That on controller is hard to be consistent. I still think it's harder.
That's probably kept
but
in first place.
I've noticed now that it's really the mental thing. It's an excuse. Don't fall into that trap. I've been there. But as I've been saying, pay attention to what I'm saying as well in the race. I noticed there's a medium runner. I'm behind a medium and behind a hard runner. The medium runner is either gonna run away from the hard runner,
We'll see. You can see in the
or
top left already the gap.
and it's either gonna run away or the hard runner can keep up. Doesn't really matter because as long as I stay in that 1 second, I can save as much of my tires and have the least amount of risk possible anyway. And now you can see lap 23 that the medium, someone else on the mediums came out right in front of the other medium runner. So the medium runner is pushing and he's able to get the Ferrari ahead of me out of that 1 second. Also, I'm also almost making a mistake. You can see how much time that cost me. It's okay, you sometimes make mistakes.
Okay.
We're still in the 1 second. Brush it off. We're fine. Be confident in your pace. It's fine. As you can see, the medium runner now has ran away a little bit 2 seconds, but the medium runner in front of him has ran away even further. And the medium runner had to do a lot of laps because of the VSC that came. which is why you know that the medium runner is gonna drop off in pace. So I kind of was constantly saving my tires, staying behind here, not getting another warning, crucially. He already has a 3-second time penalty, so there's no really reason to go crazy. My time will come with the medium runner ahead. So now we are in lap 26. I see him flashing. Now we're going to go for the move.
Bro, what are you moving so much?
And we are able to get past.
Genuinely.
But now we have a gap from
So
2
that,
seconds
guys,
ahead with a medium runner,
still
which
not.
we know that is on very old mediums. And on Imola, those tires do not feel great when they're old. Those hards don't feel great when they're old. But those mediums, I don't know, they might be even worse. They are so bad. And so I thought, all right, we've got 6 laps. I've got this in the bag. I thought 2.2 seconds, this guy's gonna drop off so much pace. And now it's time to push a little bit and use those tires to try and get into that 2.2 seconds. So the focus mode is back on. That brings me to another point. Because I've just been kind of driving not even at 80%, maybe 70%. You know, I had so much ease in my brain. Like 32 laps, 40 minutes. Guys, a brain cannot focus for 40 minutes straight. That is just not possible. So you have to accept that. Now, I must say, as I'm saying that, I have had races where I was locked in for the entire race. So I'm saying it is possible. But you have to realize that it's okay to sometimes lose focus. And when do you use that focus? That is also part of that being consistent. I just had my moment to cool down, and now we can push, and you can see it's paying off. I'm pulling off. I'm pulling away from the car behind, and I'm pulling in to the gap ahead. I'm in the zone, in the rhythm, as I still make a mistake. I hate that corner, especially on these tires. I notice my tires getting worn. Upping the brake bias, taking a deep breath, which is another tip. Keep breathing, guys. I am streaming, you know. People can look at me when I'm breathing, so it's a little bit awkward, maybe. It's a little bit like, okay, people can look at me. But no one is looking at you. If you don't have a face cam, breathe, bro. Breathe. It will calm you down so much. It will help you so much. It's so important to breathe on that main straight. Try and breathe, especially if you notice yourself getting tense. And I was noticing myself getting tense here, right? It's 5 laps left. I see this guy, I'm seeing it, I just think, all right, I'm gonna get him. All right, I'm gonna get him. Let's focus. And I'm like hyping myself up. My heartbeat is racing. You know how it is with racing. I absolutely love the feeling. I absolutely love it. It's so addicting. But here you can see in lap 29, we are able to pull away from the hard runner behind us and get into the gap of the 1 second, which is just great. We're still in the zone. We've done 29 laps already, so the confidence to not get another warning is there. We are confident that we can do it. You have to be confident. You have to think that you are confident. And now we're gonna try and attack. And before we end, because we are gonna jump over to lap 31, I think, one lap later. As we're gonna try and get the move done here. Saved some battery. As I want to talk about the last couple of things to kind of summarize. As I'm gonna try and overtake here. As you're just gonna have to witness me. See if I can pull it off or not. Yeah, so to summarize. Why do we want it? We want to minimize the mistakes. That's the most important thing. You have to understand why you want it. The mistakes cost you more time than if you just went slower through a couple of corners. It really does. I was so tense at this moment, by the way. Another breath. Going Aqua Minerale. It's hard to overtake around here. You can see he's placing his car well. He's doing extremely well on those mediums. But it's not over. He's going so slow here. Incredibly. And I actually don't even get close. And unfortunately there is the mistake. That is kind of costing me everything. Because as I've been also saying, to summarize, It's about minimizing risk. We want to drive at 80%. If you're still making too many mistakes at 80%, go to 70% in your head. If you're doing no mistakes, if you're not pushing and just being too slow, be 90% in your head. It's for everybody is different. Do whatever works for you. Here you can see again, I'm pushing, especially with the LICO, that is so important. If you just don't do the LICO, it's just hard to get the breaking point right. So just lose my breaking point, and now we're not going to be close enough anymore. Unfortunately, we're not going to get that P4. But yeah, what else to summarize? We want it because we want the consistency, because we can learn from what we're doing over the lap. We have more capacity in our brain to focus on other things that are important, like strategy and everything, and to know when you should make the moves, when should you reduce the risk that you're putting in, and when should you increase the risk. Like if you are just thinking about this already, like it's really good. But if you don't realize that you should be thinking about this, start thinking about it in next race. If you are really struggling on consistency, just focus on next race, on just one thing. Not getting any warnings, not getting that penalty. Just do it from step to step, and you will learn from it. We get Kevin, but he gets 10 seconds removed. For what it's worth, I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you guys did, go ahead and smash that like button. I really would appreciate it. I've got more tip videos. Usually I'm not really yapping like this. Let me know if you like it or not. I probably will see it in terms of the views. But I hope you guys did, and I'll see you guys next time.